A young millionaire CEO invites the humble janitor's poor daughter to play chess for fun, not knowing she's a 7-year-old genius. Before we begin, just know, no matter where you are in the world, I'm glad you're here. Martha Wilson wiped the sweat from her brow as she polished the gleaming mahogany conference table at Hartwell Technologies. 5 years of cleaning the executive floor had taught her to be invisible, a shadow moving through the halls before dawn, erasing yesterday's fingerprints and coffee rings before the suits arrived. Today was different. It was teacher planning. Day and 7-year-old Emma sat quietly in the corner, her dark curls falling over a worn notebook as she sketched geometric patterns with remarkable precision. "Almost done, sweetheart," Martha whispered. "Just Mr. Hartwell's office left." Emma nodded without looking up. She was used to accompanying her mother on school holidays, a necessity for a single parent who couldn't afford childcare. "Remember, don't touch anything," Martha reminded as they entered the corner office with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Boston. While Martha cleaned, Emma stood transfixed by the skyline, the morning sun painting the buildings gold. Then something else caught her eye, a beautiful wooden chess set on a side table, pieces arranged mid-game. Martha didn't notice her daughter gravitating toward it, fingers hovering over a knight, eyes studying the board with unusual intensity. The door opened suddenly. "Forgot my..." Jonathan Hartwell, 32-year-old CEO of Hartwell Technologies, stopped mid-sentence. He wasn't supposed to encounter anyone, especially not a child, staring at his prized chess set. Martha froze, spray bottle in hand. "Mr. Hartwell, I'm so sorry, my daughter's school's closed today." Jonathan raised his hand. "It's fine, Mrs. Wilson." "Martha Wilson, Mrs. Wilson." His eyes drifted to Emma, who hadn't moved, still studying the board. "Does your daughter play?" "No, sir." "Emma, step away from Mr. Hartwell's things." But Jonathan moved closer, intrigued by the girl's focus. "You like chess, Emma?" Emma finally looked up, dark eyes serious. "The white queen is in danger. Black knight to f3 would fork the queen and rook." Jonathan's eyebrows shot up. He looked at the board, then back at the small girl. "You're right." He glanced at Martha. "Has she played before?" "No, sir. Never." Jonathan knelt beside Emma. "How did you know that move?" Emma shrugged. "It just looks right. The knight moves in an L shape. If it goes here," she pointed without touching, "it attacks 2 pieces at once." Jonathan Hartwell, who'd been playing chess since childhood, felt a chill run down his spine. Either this was the most remarkable coincidence, or he was standing before something extraordinary. "Would you like to learn how to play?" he asked softly. Emma's eyes widened with a hunger that surprised him. Martha stepped forward. "Sir, we don't want to impose." "It's no imposition," Jonathan said, still watching Emma. "I haven't been this surprised in a very long time." Outside, Boston continued its morning rush, unaware that in a penthouse office, destinies were shifting, like chess pieces on a board. The following Tuesday, Martha brought Emma to the office after school. Jonathan had arranged it all. Permission from HR, a security badge for Emma, and an hour blocked off his calendar. "Are you sure about this, Mr. Hartwell?" Martha asked, hovering anxiously by the door. "Absolutely," Jonathan replied, setting up the chess pieces. "And please, call me John." As Martha reluctantly left, Emma approached the board reverently. John explained the pieces, their movements, the objective. To his astonishment, she absorbed everything instantly, asking precise questions about strategic concepts he hadn't even mentioned. "How do you know about controlling the center?" he asked when she questioned his opening move. "It makes sense," Emma said simply. "The middle lets your pieces go everywhere." By their 3rd weekly session, Emma was playing complete games, making moves that showcased not just understanding, but intuition. John found himself increasingly fascinated both by her natural talent and her serious demeanor that occasionally cracked to reveal a child's delight. One evening, Martha arrived early to find them laughing, John demonstrating how his grandfather had taught him to remember knight movements by prancing his fingers across the board. "Knight to F7, Emma announced triumphantly, executing the move. John's laughter stopped. "That's—" He stared at the board, then at Emma. "That's checkmate." "Is that good?" Emma asked. John met Martha's eyes over Emma's head. "Mrs. Wilson, has Emma ever had any chess instruction before?" "No," Martha replied. "We don't even own a chess set." Later, walking to the subway, Martha asked Emma if she was enjoying the lessons. "Yes," Emma said, skipping beside her. "Mr. John says I have natural talent." Martha squeezed her daughter's hand, a familiar worry gnawing at her. Emma had always been different, reading at 3, solving complex puzzles, asking questions that left teachers stammering. Martha had never been able to afford the special programs recommended by Emma's preschool teacher. "He's a busy man," Martha cautioned. "This might not last long." "He said we'd play again next week," Emma replied confidently. "He's teaching me the Queen's Gambit." That night, after tucking Emma in, Martha researched chess on their shared laptop. Words like prodigy and gifted jumped out, along with tournament schedules and chess academies with tuition fees that made her stomach clench. Meanwhile, across town, Jonathan Hartwell sat in his penthouse, replaying his game with Emma, a glass of scotch untouched beside him. In 20 years of chess, he'd never seen anything like it. Her instinctive understanding of positional play, her ability to calculate variations, it was uncanny. He reached for his phone and dialed a number he hadn't called in years. "Robert, it's John Hartwell. Remember how you always said you wanted to coach the next Bobby Fischer? I think I've found something even more interesting." "You're exaggerating," Robert Winters said, setting down his coffee cup. The retired chess grandmaster studied Jonathan skeptically across the cafe table. "Natural talent exists, but what you're describing is—" "I know how it sounds," Jonathan interrupted. "That's why I need you to see for yourself." 3 months had passed since Emma first touched a chess piece. Jonathan had created a routine, twice weekly sessions in his office, a professional chess set for Emma's home, books on strategy she devoured overnight. Martha had initially resisted the gifts, but relented when she saw Emma practicing chess moves with hand-drawn paper pieces. "Her mother is uncomfortable with the attention," Jonathan explained. "She works as a cleaner at my company, lives paycheck to paycheck. Emma's school doesn't have resources for gifted children," Robert sighed. "Even if she's talented, developing a chess prodigy takes years of professional coaching, tournament experience, financial support. I'm prepared to provide whatever she needs." Robert raised an eyebrow. "Why? You hardly know this child." Jonathan stared into his coffee. "You remember when I started playing? You were 8. Your father brought you to the club. My father brought me because he wanted trophies in the family display case. Chess was never about joy for him. It was about winning, about proving the Hartwells excel at everything. And you were good," Robert noted. "I was adequate," Jonathan corrected. "I worked hard because failing wasn't an option. But Emma—" He looked up. "She plays with pure intuition. She sees patterns I spent years learning to recognize. When she plays, Robert, she transforms. It's like watching someone speak their native language after being silent their whole life." Robert studied his former student. "You never could stand waste, especially wasted potential. Will you meet her?" "Fine," Robert conceded, "but manage your expectations. True prodigies are exceedingly rare." The following Friday, Jonathan brought Robert to his office. Emma was already at the chess table, practicing a sequence from a book Jonathan had given her. "Emma, this is my old teacher, Mr. Winters." Emma stood politely. "Hello, sir." Robert nodded, his expression neutral. "Jonathan tells me you enjoy chess." "Yes, sir. Would you play a game with me?" For an hour, the only sounds were the soft click of chess pieces and the occasional notation as Robert recorded moves. Jonathan watched Emma hold her own against a former grandmaster, her small face intense with concentration, making moves that made Robert's eyebrows rise progressively higher. When it was over, Robert sat back. "Young lady, how old are you again?" 7 3/4, Emma answered precisely. Robert looked at Jonathan, a mixture of shock and excitement in his eyes. "In 40 years of chess, I've seen perhaps 3 children with this level of natural ability." He turned back to Emma. "Would you like to learn more about chess, to play in tournaments someday?" Emma's eyes lit up. "Could I?" Later, in the hallway, Robert gripped Jonathan's arm. "This child doesn't just need lessons. She needs a comprehensive development program, tournament experience, grandmaster coaching." "I'll cover everything," Jonathan said immediately. "It's not just money," Robert warned. "It's going to change her life and her mother's. Are you prepared for that responsibility?" Jonathan watched through the glass as Emma reset the chess pieces, her small fingers placing each one with perfect precision. "Some talents come once in a generation, Robert. I won't let this one slip away because of circumstance." Martha felt as though she'd stepped into someone else's life. Instead of spending Sunday morning doing laundry at the neighborhood laundromat, she sat in an upscale cafe watching Emma play simultaneous chess games against Robert and Jonathan. 3 months of intensive training had transformed her daughter, not just in chess skill, but in confidence. "Checkmate in 3, Emma announced, moving her bishop. Robert analyzed the position and shook his head with a smile. Remarkable tactical vision. Martha still struggled to understand the chess terminology that now filled their small apartment. What she did understand was the growing chasm between Emma's potential and what she could provide as a single mother working 2 jobs. "Mrs. Wilson," Robert said, turning to her while Emma and Jonathan analyzed the other game. "The Bedford Junior Open is next month. It would be Emma's first tournament. Mostly local children, very low pressure." Martha's stomach tightened. "What would it involve?" "It's a 1-day event. Emma would play 4 games against children in her age group." "And the cost?" Martha asked, the ever-present question. Robert and Jonathan exchanged glances. "I'd like to sponsor Emma," Jonathan said carefully. "Entry fee, Chess Federation membership, everything she needs." Martha's pride flared. "Mr. Hartwell, John, please, John. You've already given Emma books, chess sets, your time. I can't accept more." "Mrs. Wilson." "Martha." Jonathan leaned forward. "In business, we invest in potential. Emma has more raw talent than players with years of training. This tournament is just the beginning." "The beginning of what?" Martha asked sharply. "Chess scholarships, professional competitions, a world where my daughter belongs and I don't?" The table fell silent. Emma looked up, sensing tension. "Mum, is everything okay?" Martha forced a smile. "Yes, honey, just grown up. Talk." Later, walking home, Emma clutched her chess book while Martha wrestled with conflicting emotions. Her daughter deserved every opportunity, but each step deeper into the chess world seemed to pull Emma further from their reality. "Mr. Roberts says I could win a trophy," Emma said, skipping beside her. "That would be wonderful," Martha replied automatically. "Then could I go to more tournaments? Mr. John says there are bigger ones where you can win money and become a master." Martha stopped walking. "Emma, do you really love chess, or do you just enjoy the attention from Mr. John and Mr. Robert?" Emma considered this with characteristic seriousness. "I love chess," she finally said. "When I play, everything makes sense. It's like I can see paths nobody else can see." She looked up at her mother. "It feels like I've been waiting my whole life to find it." That night, after Emma was asleep, Martha called the number Jonathan had given her. "I'll allow the tournament," she said without preamble, "but we need boundaries. This can't take over her childhood or her education." "Of course," Jonathan agreed, relief evident in his voice. "And Martha, thank you for trusting me." After hanging up, Martha stood at Emma's bedroom door, watching her daughter sleep, a chess book still clutched in her small hand. For the first time, she allowed herself to wonder if the cleaning lady's daughter might truly have an extraordinary future ahead, and whether she had the courage to let her reach for it. The Bedford Community Centre hummed with the quiet intensity of 80 children playing chess. Emma sat across from a bespectacled 10-year-old boy, her first tournament opponent. Martha watched from the parents' area, clutching her coffee cup like a lifeline, while Jonathan and Robert observed from nearby. "King's pawn opening," Robert murmured. "Let's see how she responds." The boy played quickly, confidently. Emma took her time, considering each move carefully. When she finally captured his queen with an unexpected knight maneuver, the boy's coach leaned forward in surprise. "Where did she learn the fried liver attack?" someone whispered. By lunchtime, Emma had won her first 2 matches. Tournament officials were beginning to notice the small girl dismantling older players with textbook precision. "How are you feeling?" Jonathan asked Martha during the break. "Overwhelmed," she admitted. "I never imagined Emma in this environment." "She's thriving," Jonathan observed as Emma chatted animatedly with Robert about her games. "Thanks to you," Martha said quietly. "I've been wondering why you're doing all this." Jonathan watched Emma demonstrating a move to Robert. "My father pushed me into chess as a child. I was good, but I never had the natural talent Emma possesses. When I see her play," he smiled, "it's like watching Michelangelo discover sculpture, or Mozart find a piano. And if she decides she doesn't want this life, if the pressure becomes too much, then we adjust," Jonathan said simply. "This is about Emma's joy, not our expectations." The afternoon matches proved more challenging. Emma's third opponent, a serious 12-year-old girl with tournament experience, played methodically, exploiting Emma's developing endgame skills. After her first loss, Emma fought tears. "It's part of learning," Robert consoled her. "Even grandmasters lose games." Her final match became the talk of the tournament. Emma faced the top-seeded player in her bracket, a boy who'd won regional championships. The game stretched longer than any of her previous matches. As they approached the 2-hour mark, a small crowd gathered. The tournament director whispered to Jonathan, "Where has she been training? She plays like someone with years of experience." When Emma executed a queen sacrifice leading to checkmate 3 moves later, applause broke out. The boy stared at the board in disbelief before extending his hand in sportsmanlike defeat. Emma finished with 3 wins and 1 loss, enough for second place in her age group. As she accepted her silver medal, her face glowed with an inner light Martha had never seen before. "Did you see, Mom? I calculated the queen's sacrifice 5 moves ahead." The tournament director approached them afterward. "Mrs. Wilson, your daughter has remarkable talent. With proper training, she could compete at the state level, perhaps even nationally." Martha felt the familiar tightness in her chest, pride, mixed with fear of a world she didn't understand. "She's only 7. Fisher was playing master-level chess at 8, the man replied. "Talent like hers is rare." That evening, they celebrated at a restaurant nicer than any Martha would normally enter. Emma clutched her medal, recounting her games move by move to an attentive Jonathan and Robert. "The New England Scholastic Championship is in 3 months, Robert mentioned carefully. With focused preparation, Emma could qualify for nationals. Martha saw the familiar pattern emerging, each achievement leading to bigger tournaments, higher stakes, greater commitments. Yet she couldn't deny the transformation in her daughter. Emma had always been serious, introverted, struggling to connect with classmates who didn't share her interests or intellect. Today, she'd found peers who spoke her language, One step at a time, Martha said, meeting Jonathan's eyes across the table. Let's see where this journey takes us. Later, tucking Emma into bed, Martha smoothed her daughter's curls. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. Mom, Emma's voice was drowsy. Do you think I could be a chess master someday, like Mr. Robert? Martha kissed her forehead. With your mind and determination, you could be anything. After Emma fell asleep, Martha carefully placed the silver medal on the bedside table, wondering what doors it might open, and what their life would look like if they stepped through the Boston Herald article was small, just a sidebar in the local section, but seeing Emma's serious face beside the headline, "Chess Prodigy Emerges from Unlikely Background," made Martha's hands shake. 7-year-old Emma Wilson, daughter of a single mother working as a custodian, has stunned the chess community with her natural talent. Under the mentorship of former chess grandmaster Robert Winters and technology entrepreneur Jonathan Hartwell, Wilson recently placed second in her first tournament. The phone calls started immediately. Emma's school principal wanted a meeting. The local chess club offered free membership. A private academy inquired about scholarship opportunities. It's too much, too fast, Martha told Jonathan during their now regular Sunday coffee, while Emma and Robert analyzed tournament games. The attention was inevitable, Jonathan replied. Emma's talent makes her newsworthy. She's a child, not a headline, Martha said sharply. Yesterday, a parent at school asked if Emma was that chess genius from the paper. What happens when the novelty wears off? Jonathan studied her. You're worried about her being disappointed. I'm worried about her entire identity forming around chess, about her entering a world that might embrace her now, but discard her later. What does Emma want? They both looked across the cafe where Emma was demonstrating a complex endgame sequence to Robert, her small face animated with passion. She wants chess, Martha admitted. She practices before school. She reads strategy books during lunch. She sets up puzzles before bed. The New England Championship would be her first major test, Jonathan said carefully. Robert believes she could make the top 10 in her age group. Martha took a deep breath. If we do this, if we really commit to this path, I need to know you're in it for the long haul, Jonathan, not just the exciting beginning. Emma's heart is fully invested. So is mine, Jonathan said quietly. The weeks leading up to the regional championship transformed their lives. Emma began twice-weekly training sessions with Robert. Jonathan arranged her first online matches against young players from around the country. Martha adjusted her work schedule to accommodate Emma's increasingly demanding chess calendar. One evening, after an intensive training session, Robert took Martha aside. The championship has significant expenses: hotel for 2 nights, entry fees, federation membership renewal. Jonathan wants to cover everything. Martha's pride warred with practicality. The costs would consume her entire monthly savings. He's not doing this out of charity, Robert added gently. In chess circles, there's prestige in discovering and developing talent. Jonathan sees himself as an investor in Emma's future. An investor expects returns, Martha pointed out. Yes, seeing her succeed is his return. Martha, I've known Jonathan since he was a teenager. I've never seen him this passionate about nurturing talent. Later that week, Martha arrived early to pick up Emma from Jonathan's office and overheard them talking. What if I don't qualify for nationals? Emma was asking, vulnerability evident in her voice. Everyone expects me to win now. Chess isn't about meeting others' expectations, Jonathan replied. It's about discovering the beauty in your own mind. Do you know why I play? To win, Emma guessed. To experience moments of perfect clarity. Tournament results matter less than the journey of developing your unique chess voice. Bobby Fischer once said chess is life, but I think chess is more like a mirror. It reflects who we are and how we think. Martha stood silently, struck by the gentleness in Jonathan's tone, so different from his confident business persona. "Will you be disappointed if I lose?" Emma asked softly. "Never," Jonathan answered. "The only disappointing outcome would be if you stopped loving the game." That night, Martha made her decision. She called Jonathan after Emma was asleep. "We'll accept your sponsorship for the championship," she said, "but I need to be clear. This is Emma's journey. If at any point she wants to step back, we do so, regardless of investments made." "Agreed," Jonathan said without hesitation. "And Martha, thank you for letting me be part of this." As she hung up, Martha wondered if she was making the right choice. Emma's world was expanding beyond anything Martha had imagined for her daughter or herself. The regional championship would take them further from familiar territory into a realm of possibilities neither had dared to dream about. Tomorrow, they would begin preparations for Boston's largest scholastic chess event, and whatever future lay beyond it. The New England Scholastic Chess Championship transformed the Burlington Convention Center into a battlefield of minds. 200 children from 7 states competed across rows of tables. The only sounds, the gentle click of chess pieces and the occasional scratch of pencils recording moves. Emma, now 8 years old, sat perfectly still, facing a 9-year-old boy from Connecticut with 3 regional titles to his name. In the spectator area, Martha clutched her program while Jonathan and Robert analyzed the position on a pocket chess set. "She's holding her own," Robert murmured. "His rating is nearly double hers." 6 months of intensive training had changed Emma. Her natural talent had been honed with strategy and theory. She'd memorized classic games, studied endgame techniques, and developed her own distinctive style, aggressive yet elegant, with a gift for seeing combinations others missed. After 3 hours, Emma forced a draw against her higher-rated opponent. As they shook hands, tournament officials nodded appreciatively. "She's on track for top 10, Robert told Martha during the lunch break. "Maybe higher." By the end of day 1, Emma had earned 2 wins and a draw, placing her unexpectedly in the top bracket. The chess community was beginning to whisper about the janitor's daughter with extraordinary potential. That evening in the hotel room, Martha helped Emma prepare for her remaining matches. They'd never stayed in a hotel before Jonathan's sponsorship. The luxury of room service and clean towels still felt surreal to Martha. "Mum, what if I actually win tomorrow?" Emma asked, rearranging pieces on her travel chess set. "Then we'll celebrate," Martha replied, brushing Emma's hair. "But remember what Mr. Jonathan says. It's about the journey, not just winning," Emma recited. She hesitated. "Mom, Alyssa invited me to her birthday party next weekend." Martha paused. Emma rarely received invitations from classmates. "That's wonderful. But it's the same day as my session with Mr. Robert." Martha saw the conflict in her daughter's eyes, the pull between her extraordinary gift and the ordinary childhood experiences she also craved. "We'll reschedule with Mr. Robert," Martha decided. "Chess isn't going anywhere." The next morning, Emma faced her toughest opponent yet, the tournament's 2nd seed, a serious 12-year-old with national ranking. Jonathan and Robert watched tensely as Emma's position deteriorated in the middle game. "She's in trouble," Robert whispered, but then Emma did something unexpected. Instead of retreating, she sacrificed a bishop, creating counterplay that transformed the game. Her opponent, caught off guard, made a critical error. After a sequence of brilliant moves, Emma forced checkmate, stunning the observers. "Incredible." "Calculation," said the tournament director. "When did she start playing?" 6 months ago, Jonathan replied, pride evident in his voice. The director stared. "That's impossible." Emma's final match would determine her championship placement. Her opponent, a serious girl 2 years older, played methodically, carefully. The game stretched past the 3-hour mark, both players down to their final minutes. In the critical moment, Emma hesitated, her hand hovering between 2 possible moves. She glanced toward the spectator area, meeting Jonathan's eyes. He gave her a subtle nod of encouragement. Emma made her choice, not the obvious move, but a subtle, positional play that would bear fruit many moves later. 40 minutes later, her opponent resigned. Emma had placed third in the most prestigious scholastic tournament in New England, a virtually unprecedented achievement for a player with her limited experience. As the medals were awarded, a woman approached Martha, introducing herself as a representative from Westfield Academy, an elite private school in Boston. "Mrs. Wilson, we'd like to discuss an academic scholarship for Emma. Our school has a strong chess program and resources for gifted children." Martha stared, speechless. Westfield was one of Boston's most prestigious schools, a world away from Emma's overcrowded public elementary. Later, during the celebration dinner, Emma recounted her games while Jonathan and Robert analyzed key positions. Martha sat quietly, contemplating the whirlwind their lives had become. "The national championship is in 4 months, Robert mentioned. Emma would be competing against the country's best young players. And Westfield Academy is interested in offering Emma a scholarship," Martha added. Jonathan set down his fork. "That's extraordinary. Their chess program is excellent." "It's also across town from our apartment," Martha pointed out, "and filled with children from wealthy families." "Children who could become Emma's peers," Jonathan suggested gently. Martha met his eyes. "Will they, or will she always be the scholarship student, the curiosity, the janitor's daughter?" Jonathan leaned forward. "Martha, Emma has a gift that transcends background. Chess is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter who your parents are or where you live. What matters is how you think." As they spoke, Emma was showing the waitress her medal, her face alight with joy that made Martha's heart ache. This new world was opening doors Martha had never imagined possible, but each step forward took them further from the life they'd known. That night, Emma slept with her bronze medal on the nightstand. Martha sat by the window, watching Boston's lights and contemplating the invitation from Westfield Academy. A new school, a dedicated chess program, resources Martha could never provide. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jonathan. "Whatever you decide about Westfield, I'm committed to supporting Emma's chess development." "This is just the beginning." Martha gazed at her sleeping daughter. 6 months ago, Emma had been an unusually bright child, with few friends and limited prospects. Now she stood at the threshold of opportunities that could change her life forever. The key question was whether Martha had the courage to let her step through. Westfield Academy's brick buildings and manicured grounds looked like something from a movie, not a place where Martha Wilson's daughter would attend school. Yet here they were, following headmistress Catherine Blackwell through hallways lined with alumni photographs and trophy cases. "Our chess program has produced 3 national masters," headmistress Blackwell explained. Coach Levinson was a championship player himself. Emma walked beside them in her new uniform, navy blazer, plaid skirt, knee socks, looking simultaneously older and more vulnerable than her 8 years. "The scholarship covers tuition, books, and extracurricular activities," the headmistress continued. "We're delighted to welcome Emma to our community." Martha nodded, fighting the sensation of being an imposter in this world of privilege. She'd taken the morning off from cleaning offices to attend Emma's first day, using precious vacation time she normally saved for emergencies. In the chess room, they met Coach Levinson, a stern man with wire-rimmed glasses who asked Emma to solve several chess problems on the spot. His eyebrows rose progressively higher with each correct solution. "Remarkable tactical vision," he commented. "Robert Winters has taught you well." As they prepared to leave Emma in her new classroom, Martha knelt to straighten her daughter's collar. "Remember, you belong here as much as anyone," she whispered. "Your mind earned you this place." Emma nodded solemnly. "Will you be here at dismissal?" I have to work, Martha admitted, but Mr. Jonathan arranged for Ms. Peterson to bring you to his office afterward for your lesson with Mr. Robert. Something flickered in Emma's eyes. Uncertainty. Perhaps, at navigating this complex new arrangement of adults and schedules built around her talent. I'm just a phone call away, Martha reassured her. Always. The following weeks tested them both. Emma struggled to balance rigorous academics with intensive chess training and the social dynamics of her new school. Martha worked double shifts to afford their apartment near Westfield, coming home exhausted to help Emma with advanced homework. One evening, after Emma had gone to bed, Martha called Jonathan. She's overwhelmed, Martha admitted. Chess practice 3 days a week, tournament preparation with Robert, advanced classes. She's only 8. Should we scale back the chess? Jonathan asked immediately. Martha sighed. That's the one thing. She doesn't want to reduce. She loves it more than ever. She hesitated, but I'm worried about her childhood slipping away. What can I do to help? Martha closed her eyes. Accepting Jonathan's financial support for chess was one thing. Admitting she needed more substantial help was another. The apartment near Westfield is draining my savings, she finally said. I'm working 60 hours a week, which means Emma spends too much time alone or with sitters. I've been thinking about that, Jonathan said carefully. Hartwell Technologies owns a corporate apartment 2 blocks from Westfield. It's vacant now that we've scaled back international recruiting. You and Emma could use it, rent-free. Martha's pride flared. Jonathan! It's sitting empty, Martha. From a business perspective, it's practical. Emma can focus on chess without exhausting commutes, and you won't need to work impossible hours just to stay near her school. After a long silence, Martha asked, Why are you doing all this? Really? Because extraordinary talent deserves extraordinary support, Jonathan replied. And because, he hesitated, because in some ways, Emma reminds me of myself at that age, except she has joy in chess that I never experienced. My father saw chess as another arena for achievement, another box to check. Emma plays because she loves the game itself. 2 days later, Martha and Emma moved into a sunlit 2-bedroom apartment with modern furniture and a dedicated study space where Emma could set up her chessboard permanently. The corporate housing agreement Martha signed made no mention of rent, only compensation related to Emma Wilson's chess development program. On their first night there, Martha found Emma sitting by the window staring at the city lights. Do you like our new home? Martha asked. Emma nodded. It's nice. She paused. Mom, Sophia from school invited me for a sleepover on Friday. That sounds fun, Martha said, trying to sound casual while her heart leapt at this normal childhood milestone. But I have tournament prep with Mr. Robert on Saturday morning. Martha sat beside her daughter. What would you prefer to do? Emma considered this with characteristic seriousness. Both, she finally said. I want to have friends and play chess. Martha smoothed Emma's hair. Then that's what we'll arrange. You deserve both. Later that week, Martha met Jonathan for their now regular coffee discussion of Emma's progress. She's settled into the apartment, Martha reported, and she's been invited to her first sleepover. That's wonderful, Jonathan said. The Westfield girls accepting her. She's still between worlds, Martha admitted. Not quite fitting with the Westfield children, no longer connected to her old neighborhood friends. Finding her place will take time, Jonathan said, but the national championship could change everything. If she performs well, she'll be recognized as a peer by the chess community regardless of background. Martha studied him over her coffee cup. You genuinely believe she can compete nationally, don't you? I believe she can change the face of American chess, Jonathan replied without hesitation. But more importantly, I believe chess can give her options in life that transcend circumstance. As they spoke across town, Emma sat in Coach Levinson's advanced class, analyzing Grandmaster games with children 2 and 3 years her senior. When she pointed out a subtle tactical opportunity others had missed, Coach Levinson nodded approvingly. "Well, spotted Wilson, perhaps you'd demonstrate that variation on the board." As Emma walked confidently to the demonstration board, she no longer felt like an outsider. Here, in the language of chess, she was fluent and respected. Here, she belonged. The National Scholastic Chess Championship in Chicago was unlike anything Emma had experienced. The massive convention center housed over 1,000 young players from across the country, many accompanied by professional coaches and parents who had invested years in their children's chess careers. "I didn't realize it would be this big," Martha whispered as they checked in. She felt conspicuously out of place among parents discussing private tutors and international tournaments. "Emma Wilson?" The registration volunteer checked her list. "Oh, you're the Boston prodigy Robert Winters. Is coaching. There's been buzz about you." Emma clutched her tournament packet, simultaneously excited and overwhelmed. At nearly 9 years old, she would be competing in the under-10 division against children who had been playing since they could reach across a chessboard. "Remember, this is primarily for experience," Robert told her during their final preparation session. "National competition is a different level. Set realistic expectations," but Emma's first 2 matches exceeded all expectations. She defeated a Minnesota state champion and drew against a California prodigy with a FIDE rating. Tournament officials began stopping by her board, watching this newcomer with growing interest. During a break, Jonathan received a call that took him away from the tournament floor. When he returned, his expression was tense. "Everything okay?" Martha asked. "Just business," he replied, but his distracted glance at his phone suggested otherwise. Emma's 3rd match became the talk of the tournament. Playing against the 4th seed, she orchestrated a brilliant queen sacrifice that led to a forced mate in 7 moves. When her opponent resigned, spontaneous applause broke out from observers. "Who's coaching her?" tournament officials asked. When told she'd been playing less than a year, one laughed outright. "That's impossible." By the end of day 1, Emma had 2.5 points out of 3, an extraordinary performance that placed her among the top 10 players going into the 2nd day. That evening in the hotel room, while Emma slept, Martha found Jonathan on the balcony, looking troubled as he stared at his phone. "What's really going on?" she asked. Jonathan sighed. "My board is questioning my involvement with Emma's chess development. They think I'm too personally invested, spending too much company time on what they see as a personal project." "Oh," Martha said softly, "I didn't realize. It's nothing for you to worry about," Jonathan assured her. "I founded the company. They can't dictate how I mentor promising talent, but they can make things difficult," Martha observed. Jonathan smiled wryly. "They're already doing that. But tomorrow is about Emma, not corporate politics." The tournament's 2nd day brought steeper challenges. Emma faced the division's top seed, a 9-year-old from New York with international experience. The match stretched over 3 hours, drawing a crowd of spectators. In the critical position, Emma hesitated, seeing 2 possible continuations. The obvious move would secure a draw. The riskier line might win or lose, depending on her opponent's response. She glanced toward the spectator area where Jonathan and Robert watched intently. Then, making her decision, she chose the bold variation. 12 moves later, her opponent resigned. Emma had defeated the tournament favorite. The chess world took notice. Coaches approached Robert asking about his prodigy. A representative from the Chess Federation spoke with Martha about development programs for exceptional talents. A chess publisher asked about featuring Emma's games in an upcoming book on young American players. "This is just the beginning," Robert told Martha as they watched Emma analyze her game with Jonathan. With proper support, she could be competing internationally within 2 years. Martha observed her daughter, animated, confident, in her element, among chess enthusiasts who spoke her language and valued her mind. This world had embraced Emma in ways Martha had never anticipated. Their final night in Chicago, after Emma had gone to sleep surrounded by chess books and tournament brackets, Martha found Jonathan in the hotel lounge. "Your board members are..." "Right," she said without preamble. "You've invested too much in Emma's chess career. Time, money, reputation. It's disproportionate." Jonathan looked surprised. "I don't see it that way." "Why Emma? There must be dozens of promising chess players. In Boston, why did you choose my daughter to champion?" Jonathan was quiet for a long moment. "Do you remember the day I first found Emma looking at my chess set?" Martha nodded. "I'd just come from a board meeting where we discussed next quarter's projections and acquisition targets, everything measured in dollars and market share." He rotated his glass slowly. "Then I walked into my office and saw this little girl who'd never played chess instantly recognizing a tactical pattern that takes most players years to develop." He looked up at Martha. "In that moment, I glimpsed something rare, pure, undiluted potential, not shaped by expectations or advantages, just raw talent waiting to be discovered." He smiled. "My father would have seen a future trophy. I saw a mind that deserved the chance to explore its capabilities without limitation." Martha studied him. "And your board doesn't understand that?" "They understand ROI and quarterly results. They don't understand investing in human potential without guaranteed returns." He shrugged. "It's my company. I'll handle the board." The next morning, Emma competed in her final match, securing 5th place. Overall, an extraordinary achievement for her first national tournament. As medals were awarded, Martha watched her daughter stand proudly among established chess prodigies, belonging completely in this meritocracy of the mind. Later, as they packed to return to Boston, Emma carefully placed her tournament score sheets in a folder. "Mom," she asked, "Mr. Jonathan seemed worried yesterday. Is something wrong?" Martha hesitated. "He's having some disagreements at work. Nothing for you to worry about." Emma frowned. "Because of me? Because he comes to my tournaments instead of work meetings?" Sometimes Martha forgot how perceptive her daughter was, on and off the chessboard. "Mr. Jonathan makes his own choices," Martha said carefully. "He believes in your talent." Emma was quiet for a moment. "He's kind of like a dad, isn't he? Not my real dad, but someone who cares what happens to me." Martha felt her throat tighten. "Yes, I suppose he is." As they boarded the plane back to Boston, Martha wondered what the future held. Emma's world had expanded beyond anything they could have imagined a year ago. But as her daughter's star rose in the chess world, Martha sensed complications ahead that had nothing to do with tournament brackets or chess ratings. The meeting in Jonathan's office had the strained formality of situations where too much remains unsaid. Martha sat rigidly in a visitor's chair, while Jonathan paced beside the floor-to-ceiling windows. Robert occupied the sofa, his expression grave. "The International Youth Chess Championship in London," Jonathan explained. "Emma's national performance qualified her, but the board is restricting your involvement," Martha finished. Over the past year, she'd learned to read between the lines of corporate politics. It had been 14 months since Emma first touched a chess piece. At 9 years old, she now held a national ranking, competed regularly in adult tournaments, and had been featured in Chess Life magazine as America's most promising new talent. Her progress had been meteoric and expensive. "They've frozen discretionary sponsorship funds," Jonathan admitted. "They can't prevent my personal involvement, but corporate resources are another matter." "What does this mean for Emma?" Martha asked directly. Robert leaned forward. "The London Championship is crucial for Emma's development. It's where she'd compete against young players from Russia, China, India, countries that identify and cultivate chess talent systematically. And it costs, Martha prompted, approximately $20,000, Jonathan replied. Airfare, accommodations, coaching, entry fees. Martha exhaled slowly. That's impossible. Not necessarily, Jonathan said carefully. I can personally cover the expenses. Martha stiffened. They had already accepted so much: the apartment, tournament sponsorships, coaching fees. Each gift had come with reassurances about chess development, programs and talent investment, allowing Martha to preserve the fiction that this wasn't charity. There's something else, Robert interjected. The Chess Federation has a limited number of development grants. Emma's performance makes her eligible, but the application deadline is this Friday. I have the paperwork here, Jonathan added, sliding a folder across the desk. It would cover approximately half the London expenses. Martha opened the folder, scanning requirements that included financial disclosures, proof of exceptional talent, and recommendations from established chess figures. I need time to think, she said finally. This is all happening very fast. That evening, Martha found Emma at the kitchen table, analyzing positions from her recent tournament. How would you feel about an international tournament? Martha asked, casually. In London. Emma's eyes widened. Against players from other countries? Mr. Robert mentioned it might be possible someday. Someday might be sooner than we thought. Emma set down her pencil. Would you come too, and Mr. Jonathan and Mr. Robert? I would definitely come, Martha assured her. As for Mr. Jonathan, she hesitated. His company is questioning how much time he spends on chess activities. Emma's face fell. Because of me? Not because of you, Martha corrected firmly. Because adults sometimes have complicated priorities. Later that night, Martha called Jonathan. I've been thinking about London, she began. I understand if you're hesitant, Jonathan said. It's a big step. It's not just London, Martha replied. It's everything. The apartment, Westfield, coaching, tournaments. We've accepted so much from you, Jonathan. There should be limits. Why? He challenged. Because it makes you uncomfortable? Because it doesn't fit some predetermined notion of what's appropriate? Because Emma is forming attachments, Martha said bluntly, to you, to this lifestyle, to possibilities that could disappear if your board decides your pet project isn't worth your attention anymore. The silence that followed was heavy. Martha, Jonathan finally said, my interest in Emma's development isn't conditional on board approval or corporate sponsorship. It's a personal commitment. How personal? Martha asked, the question that had hovered unspoken between them for months. Another weighted silence. I care about Emma, Jonathan said carefully, and I care about you. As a charitable project? Martha pressed. No. His voice was firm. As people who have become important to me. Martha, I'm not going to pretend my feelings are purely professional anymore. This past year, watching you support Emma, seeing your determination and courage, I've developed feelings I didn't anticipate. Martha closed her eyes, heart racing. She'd sensed this shift, but had deliberately avoided acknowledging it. That complicates things, she whispered. Only if we let it, Jonathan replied. My support for Emma's chess career is unconditional. My feelings for you are separate. Are they? Can they be? The question hung between them, unanswered. The next morning, Martha arrived at Hartwell Technologies earlier than usual. Instead of her cleaning uniform, she wore her one good dress. The receptionist, accustomed to Martha entering through service entrances, stared as she requested a meeting with the board chair. An hour later, Martha sat across from Eleanor Blackwood, Hartwell's formidable board chair. Mrs. Wilson, Eleanor said coolly, this is unusual. I'll be direct, Martha replied. Your board is concerned about Jonathan Hartwell's involvement with my daughter's chess career. Eleanor's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rose. You're remarkably well informed for a member of our maintenance staff. Martha refused to be intimidated. Emma has qualified for the International Youth Championship in London. I understand Hartwell. Technologies has withdrawn potential sponsorship. The board feels Mr. Hartwell's personal interests have interfered with his corporate responsibilities, Eleanor confirmed. We've simply realigned priorities. I see, Martha said. Then perhaps you should know that I'm withdrawing Emma from Jonathan's mentorship program, effective immediately. Eleanor's expression shifted to genuine surprise. May I ask why? To protect both Emma and Jonathan, Martha answered. My daughter's chess development shouldn't come at the cost of Jonathan's professional standing, and Jonathan deserves board members who recognize his legitimate interest in developing exceptional talent. As Martha stood to leave, Eleanor asked, Does Jonathan know you're here? No, Martha replied, and I'd appreciate if this conversation remained between us. That evening, Martha waited until Emma was asleep before calling Jonathan. I need to speak with you, she said. About London, about everything. I've been thinking about our conversation, Jonathan began. Emma won't be competing in London, Martha interrupted, and we'll be moving out of the corporate apartment next month. The silence that followed was deafening. Why? Jonathan finally asked, his voice tight with shock. Because this has gone too far, Martha replied. The lines have blurred, Jonathan, between mentorship and charity, between professional interest and personal feelings. So you're punishing Emma because I admitted I care about you. I'm protecting Emma from building her future on a foundation that might shift. I'm protecting you from board members who question your judgment, and yes, I'm protecting myself from feelings I can't afford to explore. Martha, I've applied for the Chess Federation. Grant, she continued. If Emma receives it, we'll find other coaching arrangements. Robert has colleagues who might help. This is unnecessary, Jonathan said, his voice strained. Whatever you're feeling, whatever concerns you have, we can address them without upending Emma's progress. I need to do this, Martha insisted, for all of us. After hanging up, Martha sat alone in the darkness of the apartment Jonathan had provided, surrounded by the chess books he had purchased, facing a future suddenly bereft of his steady presence in their lives. She wondered if she'd made the right decision, and whether Emma would ever forgive her if she hadn't. The small apartment in Brighton was a stark contrast to the corporate housing they'd left behind. One bedroom, thin walls, a kitchenette barely large enough for their small table. But it was theirs, paid for with Martha's earnings, no strings attached. 2 months had passed since Martha's decision. Emma continued at Westfield Academy on scholarship and trained twice weekly with Coach Levinson. But the intensive sessions with Robert had ended. The Chess Federation grant had come through, covering basic tournament expenses but not the London Championship, which had passed without Emma's participation. Knight to e4, Emma murmured, moving pieces on her travel chess set. She'd grown quieter. Since the change, spending hours analyzing games alone. Ready for school? Martha asked, setting out breakfast. Emma nodded without looking up. You have the regional qualifier this weekend, Martha reminded her. Coach Levinson says you're well prepared. Emma finally met her mother's eyes. Mr. Jonathan used to come to all my tournaments. Martha's heart clenched. I know, sweetheart. You never really explained why we stopped seeing him. How could Martha explain decisions based on pride, fear, and feelings too complicated for a 9-year-old to understand? How to explain walking away from opportunities most chess parents would sacrifice everything to secure? Sometimes adults need to establish boundaries, Martha said carefully. Mr. Jonathan was very generous, but we needed to become more independent. He calls sometimes, Emma admitted, to ask about my tournaments. Martha stilled. You didn't mention that, Emma shrugged. You get weird when I talk about him. The regional qualifier was held at a community college, less prestigious than Emma's recent tournaments. Martha sat alone in the spectator area, acutely aware of Jonathan's absence. Emma played mechanically, winning her matches without the spark of joy that had once characterized her game. Between rounds, Martha noticed Emma scanning the entrance repeatedly. "Are you looking for someone?" Martha asked. Though she knew the answer, Emma hesitated. "I thought maybe Mr. Jonathan might come, just to watch." "Did you ask him to?" "No," Emma admitted. "But he always knew my tournament schedule before." Martha felt a familiar guilt resurface. In protecting Emma from potential disappointment, had she created a more immediate one? Emma placed second, a solid performance that qualified her for state championships but lacked the brilliance that had once made spectators gather around her board. As they packed up, a tournament official approached. "Emma Wilson, there's someone asking for you at the registration desk." Martha tensed, expecting Jonathan. Instead they found Eleanor Blackwood, Hartwell's board chair, elegantly dressed and distinctly out of place among chess parents in casual attire. "Mrs. Wilson, Miss Wilson," Eleanor greeted them. "Congratulations on your performance today, Emma." "Thank you," Emma replied cautiously, glancing at her mother. "I wonder if I might have a word with you both," Eleanor continued, her crisp tone making it less a request than a statement. In the empty cafeteria, Eleanor came directly to the point. "The board has reconsidered its position regarding Jonathan's chess mentorship program." Martha straightened. "I don't understand." "After our conversation, I did some research," Eleanor explained. "Emma's achievements are quite remarkable. More importantly, I reviewed Jonathan's performance metrics for the periods before and during his involvement with Emma's chess development." She smiled slightly. "Contrary to our concerns, his most innovative product initiatives and successful acquisitions occurred during this period." "What are you saying?" Martha asked. "That the board was wrong," Eleanor admitted frankly. "Jonathan's distraction seems to stimulate rather than hinder his business acumen. We've restored his discretionary funding and formally recognized his mentorship program as a corporate initiative promoting STEM education." Martha absorbed this, suspicion mounting. "Why are you telling me this, rather than Jonathan?" Eleanor's smile tightened. "Because Jonathan hasn't been himself since your withdrawal from the program. He declined to reinstate funding when offered." She studied Martha. "He believes you want nothing further to do with him." Emma, who had been silent, suddenly asked, "Is Mr. Jonathan okay?" Something softened in Eleanor's expression. "He misses you, young lady. Chess, too, I suspect. He's stopped playing entirely." Later that evening, after Emma was asleep, Martha sat at their small kitchen table, turning her phone over repeatedly. Finally, she dialed. "Martha," Jonathan answered immediately. "Is everything all right?" "Is Emma—" "She's fine," Martha assured him. "We saw Eleanor Blackwood today." A pause. "I see. She said the board reversed their position, that your mentorship program has been formally recognized." "Yes. Why didn't you tell me?" Another pause. "You made it clear you wanted independence." "I respected that." Martha closed her eyes. "Emma misses you. She's been watching for you at tournaments." "I miss her too," Jonathan admitted. "Both of you." "She placed second today," Martha continued. "Qualified for state championships." "I know. I've been following her results." He hesitated. "How is she?" "In playing technically well, but the joy is missing." Martha took a deep breath. "Jonathan, I made a mistake. I let pride and fear drive a decision that hurt Emma." "You were protecting her," Jonathan said quietly. "From what? A man who believes in her talent? Who's willing to fight his own board to support her development?" Martha's voice caught. "Who cares about us?" Silence stretched between them. "The state championship is next month," Martha finally said. "Emma would love to have you there." I'd be honored, Jonathan replied, his voice warm with restrained emotion. And Robert has been asking when he can resume their training sessions. I think that could be arranged, Martha said, smiling despite the tears in her eyes. One step at a time. The next morning, Martha woke Emma with news that transformed her demeanor instantly. Mr. Jonathan and Mr. Robert will be at your state championship, and if you want, you can restart your special training sessions. Emma's face lit up, then grew serious. What changed your mind? Martha sat on the edge of the bed. I realized I was so afraid of you being disappointed later that I caused certain disappointment now. Sometimes adults make mistakes trying to protect the people they love. Emma considered this with characteristic thoughtfulness. Is Mr. Jonathan still mad at us? No, sweetheart. He was never mad, just respecting our space. Are we moving back to the nice apartment? Martha shook her head. No, this is our home now, earned through my work. But we can accept support for your chess development without compromising our independence. As Emma prepared for school, Martha noticed her removing the chess set from her backpack for the first time in weeks, studying positions over breakfast. With renewed enthusiasm. Later, Martha received a text from Jonathan. Dinner this Friday, all three of us? There's a new restaurant near the Children's Museum Emma might enjoy. Martha stared at the message, recognizing it for what it was. Not just a dinner invitation, but a chance to redefine their complicated relationship on new terms. We'd love to, she replied, finally allowing herself to acknowledge the feelings she'd been suppressing for months. That evening, Emma played an online chess match, her focus and creativity restored. Martha watched her daughter's transformation with a mixture of relief and anticipation. They had weathered their first major crisis together and emerged with greater clarity about what truly mattered. The future remained uncertain, but Martha no longer feared uncertainty. Whatever came next, tournaments, opportunities, relationships, they would navigate it together, one careful move at a time. The South Boston Community Center buzzed with excitement as spectators crowded around a special exhibition match. 10-year-old Emma Wilson, now ranked among the top junior players nationally, sat across from Grandmaster Robert Winters, demonstrating the game for an audience of seniors and children from the center's after-school program. And this move creates what we call a discovered attack, Robert explained to the audience as Emma executed a clever bishop maneuver. Emma has improved so much she occasionally beats me now, though not today, I hope. In the front row, Jonathan Hartwell watched with undisguised pride. Beside him, Martha observed the audience's rapt attention as her daughter explained chess concepts with natural confidence. 18 months had transformed Emma from a chess novice to a recognized prodigy with international tournament experience. The London Championship, which she had eventually attended 6 months late with Jonathan's renewed sponsorship, had been followed by competitions in Toronto, New York, and even a junior invitational in Amsterdam. But today's exhibition was special, for different reasons. It marked the launch of Chess for All, Jonathan's new non-profit initiative bringing chess education to underserved communities across Boston. Checkmate in 3, Emma announced, demonstrating the final sequence that trapped Robert's king. Applause erupted. As Emma shook hands with Robert, her eyes found Martha and Jonathan in the crowd, her smile broadening. And that concludes our demonstration, Jonathan announced, stepping forward. Chess sets are available for anyone who'd like to learn, and Emma and Coach Winters will be here every Thursday, teaching free classes for all ages. As the crowd dispersed toward refreshment tables, Emma joined Martha and Jonathan. You played brilliantly, Jonathan told her, squeezing her shoulder affectionately. Robert let me win, Emma replied with characteristic honesty. But it was a good demonstration. The seniors loved it, Martha said. Mrs. Abernathy told me she's coming back next week for lessons. A young girl approached them hesitantly, clutching a chess piece. Are you really Emma Wilson? The one from the newspaper? Emma nodded, kneeling to the child's level. What's your name? Sophia. I'm 7. Can you teach me chess too? Of course, Emma replied, guiding the girl toward an empty chess table. Let's start right now. Martha watched her daughter patiently explaining how pieces move, remembering another 7-year-old discovering chess for the first time. She's a natural teacher, Jonathan observed, standing close beside Martha, just as talented at sharing knowledge as acquiring it. The past 6 months had brought unexpected developments. After that first tentative dinner, Jonathan had become a regular presence in their lives again, not just for chess, but for weekend outings, school events, and quiet evenings, discussing Emma's future over tea after she'd gone to bed. Martha had initially maintained careful boundaries, but those had gradually softened as Jonathan demonstrated that his commitment extended beyond Emma's chess career to encompass both their well-being. The foundation paperwork came through, Jonathan mentioned, as they watched Emma demonstrate a knight's movement to Sophia. Chess for All is officially incorporated as a 5001c3. The board approved the initial funding unanimously. Quite a change from when they questioned your involvement with chess, Martha noted. Jonathan smiled. Having a world-renowned chess prodigy as our program ambassador helped, but it was actually Eleanor who championed it most strongly. She's joining the foundation board. Life is full of surprises, Martha mused. Speaking of which, Jonathan said, suddenly serious, there's something I've been wanting to discuss with you. Martha felt a flutter of anticipation. Their relationship had evolved cautiously, neither rushing to define what was developing between them. The International Chess Federation has invited Emma to a special training program in Switzerland this summer, Jonathan continued. 6 weeks with the world's top coaches. Switzerland? Martha repeated, caught off guard. That's a big commitment. It's an incredible opportunity, Jonathan explained. The kind of training most chess parents can only dream about for their children. Martha watched Emma patiently reset pieces for her new student. Would you come with us? Jonathan hesitated. That's part of what I wanted to discuss. I'd like to, very much, but Martha turned to face him fully. But I don't want to intrude on your family time. Our relationship, yours and mine, it's become important to me, Martha. But Emma comes first, and I respect that. Martha studied him, this man who had transformed their lives in ways she never could have imagined 2 years ago. Jonathan, you are part of our family now. Emma sees you that way, and so do I. Something shifted in Jonathan's expression, relief, joy, vulnerability. I've been careful not to presume. I know, Martha said softly. That's one of the things I've come to love about you. The word hung between them, acknowledged at last. I love you too, Jonathan said simply, both of you in different ways. I never expected to find a family when I walked into my office that morning and found a little girl studying my chess set. Martha smiled. Life makes unexpected moves sometimes. Indeed it does, Jonathan agreed, taking her hand. So, Switzerland? Switzerland, Martha confirmed, as a family. Across the room, Emma looked up from her impromptu lesson and caught sight of them holding hands. Her expression brightened with understanding and approval before returning to her student. She's known how I felt. Before I did, Jonathan observed. She's always been 3 moves ahead of everyone else, Martha replied. Later that evening, as they drove home, Emma asked from the back seat, Are you two going to get married? Martha nearly swerved. Emma! It's a reasonable question, Emma persisted. You hold hands now and Mr. Jonathan comes over for dinner 4 nights a week. Jonathan caught Martha's eye, amusement mixing with something deeper. What would you think about that, Emma? Emma considered this with her typical seriousness. I think it would be logical, We already function as a family unit. Formalizing it would simplify scheduling and living arrangements. Martha couldn't help, laughing. Is that the only reason? Emma's serious expression softened. No. You're happier when he's around, Mom. And he looks at you the way Grandmaster Kasparov looks at a beautiful chess position. Jonathan chuckled. High praise indeed. As they arrived home, not the corporate apartment or the small Brighton flat, but the comfortable townhouse they'd moved into 3 months ago, Emma gathered her chess materials. I need to prepare for the tournament next weekend, she announced, heading toward her room. Alone in the kitchen, Martha turned to Jonathan. She doesn't miss much, does she? Not on the chessboard or off it, Jonathan agreed, pulling Martha gently into his arms. So, what would you think about her question? Martha looked up at him. Are you proposing? Not yet, Jonathan replied. But I'm signaling my intentions, setting up the board, you might say. Martha smiled. Then I'm indicating I'd be receptive to such a move when the time is right. Jonathan's kiss was gentle, full of promise. I never imagined when I forgot those contracts that morning that I'd find you both, that a chance encounter would change everything. It wasn't chance, Martha said softly. Emma would call it a brilliant opening move in a game neither of us knew we were playing. From upstairs came the soft sound of chess pieces being arranged, a young girl preparing for her next challenge, secure in the knowledge that whatever the future held, she would face it with two people who believed in her completely and in each other. In chess, as in life, the most powerful moves often begin with the quietest openings, and the most unexpected players sometimes make the most extraordinary champions.